Breaking news, the next GOAT of French football is ready to take over the game.
Mbappe lines one up, and Mbappe!
Crazy goals, skill moves, and the biggest transfer saga of the 21st century, Kylian Mbappe is living football cinema. But with his career moving so fast, can Mbappe reach the heights he's expected to and become footballing royalty? 1998 was a really special year for France. They won the World Cup, and later in December, a rising star was born. Kylian Mbappe. He was born in Bondy, and from his early days, it was clear he was destined to become an athlete. His dad, Wilfried Mbappe, was a pro footballer, and his mom, Faiza Lamri, used to be a handballer back in her day. And he even had a step-bro named Kembo Okoko, who was already a pro. Training under his dad, Mbappe soon became one of the most talked-about kids on the block, and not long after, he was attracting the attention of the biggest academy in France, Clairefontaine, where ballers like Thierry Henry had played at. In there, Mbappe's skills set him a class apart. In fact, he's become so good that, at 12, he already had some of the world's best teams struggling to sign him. Yep, Real Madrid and Arsenal were interested in him, and it gets crazier too because Chelsea passed up the chance to sign him. These blue dudes have been making bad decisions way before that Todd guy arrived. In the end, Mbappe chose to stay in Clairefontaine, and it paid off because in 2014, his career was about to kick off. He signed for AS Monaco, and in 2015, a couple of weeks from his 17th birthday, he made history. He'd just broken Thierry Henry's record of being the youngest player to play for Monaco. 2015-16 had Mbappe with limited game time, but in 2016-17, he set the world on fire. 28 goals and 14 assists on 46 games, and this doesn't even tell half the story. That season, Mbappe was on smoke. He had defenders pissing themselves trying to stop him. AS Monaco won the league thanks in large part to Mbappe's 15 goals, but it was in the Champions League where he had the entire world taking notes. He scored in both legs against Manchester City to knock them out, and he didn't stop there because in the quarterfinals, he was at it again, this time against Borussia Dortmund. Monaco eventually got knocked out in the semis, but Mbappe still managed to score against Juventus and Buffon, a guy who made his debut 1 year before Mbappe was born. With the form he was on, no disrespect to Monaco, but there was no way they'd have been able to keep him from the coming season. So when the transfer window opened that summer, they decided to cash in on their new superstar, and that cash in was big. $160 million later, Mbappe had now become a PSG player, the most expensive teenager in the history of the game, and the second most expensive transfer of all time. Mbappe was in the spotlight, and not just for his huge move too. On the national scene, he was set to make the biggest decision of his life. Now Mbappe's dad, Wilfried, is from Cameroon, and with his mom, Faiza Lamri, from Algeria, Mbappe had to choose which national team to play for, trying to imagine what dinner would have been at the Mbappes leading up to this. In the end, Mbappe chose neither because his decision was to represent the place he'd always known as home. He chose France. On the domestic front that season, Mbappe was in decent form, meaning he was still only 19 and had 21 goals and 16 assists in 46 games. But it was at the World Cup that year that Mbappe showed he was ready for the big time. He had the most epic summer of his life. At 18, Mbappe scored 4 goals and bagged an assist as France won the entire thing that year. And his goal in the final tied him with Pele's record of becoming the only teenagers to score in a World Cup final. He also won the Young Player of the Tournament award, well deserved. Back to PSG now, and they made it clear to Mbappe and the rest of his superstar teammates why they'd signed him. To win the freaking Champions League. But the mission wasn't quite going according to plan. In 2018-19, despite bagging a brace in the first leg against Manchester United in the round of 16, Mbappe and PSG got knocked out after choking on the lead and drawing 3-3 on aggregate. He did manage to score 39 goals and 17 assists in 43 games that season, winning the Ligue 1 Player of the Year award and the Golden Boot, but that was pretty much the story for the next couple of seasons. In 1920, that COVID season, again he bagged the goals, but in the one that mattered most, he fell short, losing the Champions League final to Bayern. 2020-21 was even worse. Despite balling on a personal level, including bagging a hat-trick against Barcelona in the knockout stage at the Nou Camp, they got knocked out in the semis by Bayern. And this time, they didn't win the league. AS Monaco beat them to it. Mbappe must have had enough. He wanted out, and one team who'd been keeping tabs on him was ready to make his dreams come true. At this point, it was clear to Mbappe that if he wanted to win the Champions League and the Ballon d'Or, he had to subscribe to Footballers first off, so he did that by clicking the subscribe button down below. And for months, it looked like he was all set for a move to hit the next phase of his career. Real Madrid had been on his case for months, and now it was almost as if they had him, until they didn't. At the time, Mbappe had just 1 year left on his PSG deal, and there's no way PSG would have wanted to sell him for free. So they came again in January, this time dropping a reported bid of $150 million, but Mbappe shocked everyone by doing this. He announced a 3-year contract extension with PSG that on the surface was going to make him the highest paid player in Europe, and behind it was going to get him even more money, the bag of a lifetime. He was getting $250 million as loyalty bonuses, a new wage deal that has him earning over $1 million per week, and he had so much power now that he even had a say on which players the club could sign. Damn! On the pitch, though, it didn't seem like Mbappe made the right choice. That season, he got to face Real Madrid, the club he was supposed to face in the Champions League, and they taught him a lesson about what it means to be kings of Europe. A comeback to knock him and PSG out despite bagging 2 goals away and home. Karim Benzema scored a hat-trick to send Mbappe home. 2022-23 was a repeat of the same thing, and at this point, it had guys like me thinking PSG was cursed, man. They'd legit done Avengers Assembly with the greatest team money could buy in Europe. A front three of Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar, Sergio Ramos had joined the team, Marco Verratti in midfield, and Forever 21's Gigi Donnarumma, all of that to get knocked out in the Champions League round of 16 by Bayern Munich. Now, if Mbappe ever needed a sign that he should leave, he had one. I mean, there was nothing left. He'd conquered PSG in France. He'd won the Ligue 1 Golden Boot 4 times, was Player of the Season 4 times, won Ligue 1 6 times, won the French Cup and French Super Cup, and was now PSG's all-time record goal scorer. Maybe he was all set to leave this time. Either that, or he still hadn't recovered from the biggest heartbreak of his career. In the 2022 World Cup, Mbappe was on another level, scoring bangers like this. His 4 goals in the group stage and knockouts helped France reach a titanic final against Argentina, where Mbappe was set to defend his national team's crown against Messi's Argentina. For 78 minutes, the French looked dead and out. Argentina had taken a 2-0 lead, and it looked like it'd be enough to seal the win. Until Mbappe pulled one back, and 3 minutes later had me and the 3.6 billion people watching worldwide going nuts. Bagged a brace to tie it at 2-2, he completed his hat-trick in extra time to become the first guy since Geoff Hurst in 1966 to score a hat-trick in the World Cup final, helping him win the Golden Boot in the process. But it wasn't enough, because in the end, his teammate completed the story. It's 2023-24 now, and things have taken a different turn for Mbappe. He's come out to say this season will be his last with PSG. Looks like he's set for the big move to Madrid in the summer, and the kid from all those years back has turned into a man. He's now captain of the national team and has become so good, the French legend he was being compared to years back is now singing his praises on live TV.
You don't even know if you have to put your leg up or not, so this is why I think this guy is clever.
Henry, you know ball. Mbappe knows now for him to be truly considered one of the greats, he has to start winning the big ones, the Champions League and the Ballon d'Or. Maybe he can take a cue from Henry, who left Arsenal to win the Champions League with Barca. Mbappe, you've got to finish the story. Trying to imagine him in the Real Madrid team next season, and it'll be like a cheat code. For someone who was FIFA cover boy 3 years in a row, Mbappe knows the game, and that's why he's subscribed to Footballers already, meaning you've got no reason not to.